Hello, everyone. Corrie here, coming in to do the energy update for February 2025. Ah, what a month. What a month. What a month. Told you it would be filled with a lot of things, and it required a lot of energy updates. And so there was the monthly, there was the weeklies, there was two that ties us all the way into the 29th, 30th. Like, it has been action packed, and there's been so much energy, so much shifting and moving. And now we are moving into the lunar shift. And so now we're moving into the Lunar New Year. And so we have within Chinese astrology, it takes us into the year of the snake. And so moving into the year of the snake, and I believe this is a wood snake, is we have a lot that is unfolding, and a lot of new shifts that is taking place. And I said, don't be in such a rush to begin the month in the beginning of January, because you will be exhausted before the mid month or for the end of the month, because there's just so many moving pieces and so much that's moving and changing us as we are also going. And there's so many elements of surprise and quick shifts and changes. And I will always stand by this one, is there is such power in staying in the middle than there is in stacking everything to one story or one side of things. And it's like so easy to get caught up. It is so easy to become, so obsessed with following only one way and only one style and only knowing one thing, that we can get lost and we cannot see sometimes what else is happening. To be able to be an observer, to be able to look in at things, to open our minds to perspectives, and to walk around all things, to look at all sides of things, to listen to all different scopes, or to receive all kinds of different information before we put everything together, is an important part of how we are meant to be able to exist. And so it's so easy to get lost in one fear story, or to get caught in one fear story. And we have a lot of fear stories that are playing out right now. So many fear stories. But January is ending with a very positive new moon. And it doesn't mean everything's going positive, but so the new moon is a new moon in Aquarius. We are now into Pluto in Aquarius. We are in Aquarius season. And so we have all this Aquarian energy that is here to help influence us, which is when we feel like things are set in stone, or when we don't see a way beyond, is that this is where the magic is, that what we thought couldn't change, or that we thought couldn't be resolved, or that we thought couldn't happen, can happen. It's the energy that kind of brings about another turn of the tides, and blend that into this movement of shifting energy and into the year of the snake, is that this is where we can feel the sense of anything can take a twist or take a turn towards maybe something good, maybe a change. When life or things in our lives are transitioning and going through changes, is that it is hard to see the destiny as seeing the sunshine, or seeing things organized or put together, or see things working out for the highest good. It's so easy to get lost in, this is no way this is going to happen. There's no way. And so this is where this kind of energy that has been influencing us could have us settling in and making decisions too soon, jumping to conclusions too soon, too early, right? And it's so easy to follow the sheep, right? So I don't mean everyone's a sheep, but follow the pack, or to get lost in the fear. It's like, oh my God, we all have to start doing this now. And it's like, no, we don't. No, we don't all have to do this right now. Nope, I don't have to be a part of this right now. Nope, I don't have to do, nope, nope, nope. And I just keep hearing, nope, 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 nope. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. And it's like, oh, you can't wait. You can't wait. It's coming. It's coming. Something bad is coming. Something's going to happen. No, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to wait and I'm going to hold out. And I'm going to hold out until I get the call, until I can feel it inside of myself that there is a clear way, or a knowing, or just a sense of, okay, this is go time. Now it's go time. Now it's time to take the opportunity. Now it's time to take the change, to make the shift. And that's coming into February and moving us into the beginning of February, where you'll see changes happening again. So if you've already locked yourself in, or you got yourself guaranteed into something, or you signed up for, you signed up for that freaking gym membership ahead of time, but you didn't even know if you liked it, but you didn't sign up for a month, you signed up for a year. Example. If you signed up for a year, but you really weren't even sure if it was for you, and you locked yourself in for the year. Trust me, I've done that earlier in the year. And you locked that yourself in instead of just getting 1 month because it was a way to discipline yourself. Well, now I got to do it. Well, now you may be the person who spends the rest of the year punishing yourself, being mad at yourself because you signed up for something that you now feel like you're forcing yourself to do, but it just probably doesn't even feel right for you, because maybe in February you find something that you love instead of something that you like. So it could be relationships, it could be jobs. It's the thing that you find that you like versus the thing you discover that you love. And so it's about, this was being responding from guilt, and this is being responded from fear, or this is reacting from fear, and this is responding to the light. So February is bringing in a new energetic thought process that just says, if only I had waited, if I didn't rush, if I didn't jump in because of the being triggered by the new year, and kind of being influenced by the propaganda of advertisements and the push and the shove. Like, we get so full on all of our outside interferences that then it's no room for clarity. There's no room for greater wisdom or knowing to get in, because we're so filled up on junk. And so there's all of this junk that has been there. And so now we're seeing, or debris, let's say debris. So the debris is now settling. Things are settling in. The energy is going to make another shift. And the shift, if you locked yourself into something in the beginning of the year, you maybe now find yourself going, oh. But some of the predictions for the year have already begun to unfold. So many of them have begun to unfold. And some of these predictions were coming up in the end of 2000. So by the end of 2024, and I didn't have them fully in. And so there was this, energy that was just, speaking of, there was energy that was showing me something happening around the LA, and then the fires all hit. And so then also I talked about in the yearly predictions, I spoke about there being like those on like home-based businesses. You would see some of those change and close because they'd either be restructuring, renaming, or redesigning to go with the changes in the times, or they jumped into action because of the fear stories of the relationship between, say, Canada and the US. And so that jumping into action too soon is there. It's like, sometimes we need to wait things out or process, but I did speak about how you were going to see these close, and how this is one of the things that I often speak of, is being so overly invested in building up that kind of a business and building yourself a big business from one of those businesses, and you create your identity fully, and you throw all of your eggs into that, and you invest fully into that, and that becomes all that you identify by. But you don't hold any strings. You don't have any real investment in there. So you never have a say. And if you never have a say, you never get to decide anything of how things are going or how things will turn out. So you get the same surprise as, say, the customers would get. And so you find out things as things are happening, and you find out things like all of a sudden the business is gone. So there is things to really pay attention to in moving forward in how you show up if you're into that world, or if you're into that kind of work, is in how much you invest into that kind of business versus how much you put into maybe building up your own influence, being an influencer in your own lifestyle or what you're doing, if that's the way you work. So I did, like I said, we just seen Epicure going down, going out of business, and the talks of all that. That's the second one now. In end of 2024, there was another one. And I do feel like there's a few more of those you're going to see. And that you're also going to see like franchises chains shutting down. And we're seeing that everywhere here in Canada. You're seeing like clothing stores, and all this was in the predictions. So all of those things that were a part of the closing is, you may see the same people rebrand and restructure something else. But starting your own small business versus being involved in that part might be something to look at moving forward. Something of a small business of your own, looking at how you can be more invested or more in charge into something that includes you. But also, it's going to be a great year. And February is the beginning of this, of collaborations, of joining together, of supporting the everyday people. I'm telling you, I've been saying this since COVID, since all of that began, and I probably shouldn't even use that language in here, but it's about the everyday people. And it's how we thrive and how we grow and how we evolve is by collaborating and joining together as the everyday people. And not to be so quick to be so on board with putting all of our so much support and investing so much into, say, a politician, that we lose our connection to people, because this is what matters, and it's the everyday people that matter. And so locking into those commitments, not being overcommitted, having wiggle room, having movement, having the ability to be able to move, having the ability to kind of move with the times and the changes, because as we move into February and as we go through the rest of this year, it is going to be about flexibility and being able to be flexible, being able to adapt and adjust, being able to make those changes, and being able to kind of get up and out of situations or out of places where we just kind of start to know you don't belong. So this may be a year of great awakenings, but February, for some reason, is kind of where it's kind of like the first switch going off. And it's like this big aha moment or experience that's coming in. And it's the beginning of that movement. And so there is like this switch, just like flick, like flick. And it's just like, oh shit, now I want to do this. So there's going to be all kinds of opportunities or experiences showing up. And if you're already previously committed to, like, you've already planned out your whole calendar for 2025, you might be kicking yourself in the ass for having your calendar too full, because then there's going to be things that are coming up that are going to be like, well, I really wanted to do that, but now I'm committed over here, but now I'm tied to there, and now I have to be here. And so that overcommitment is a part of the systems of what we have been created throughout the years of being pre-booked, pre-organized. And it's like, oh, well, you got to, because, you're going to miss out on an opportunity. but you might miss out on the opportunity because your schedule is too full, your hands are too full, your heart is too full, you've taken on too much, you've already gotten to such a rush and such a panic about what the year was, or you got so over the top in the hurrah about what was going to happen this year that you didn't leave space, and there was no space, and you need space. And so February is going to start to reveal that. So there might be some, oh, why did I do that? Why was I there? And so I want to say for my single people, if you're feeling the pressure to jump into living together or committing, I'd probably wait it out until March or April. And not saying something better is coming along. I mean, maybe a better place to move in together, maybe there. Or, that person who may have dumped you and been not nice to you, those people of the past that were like, that dumped you. And you were telling yourself, well, I deserve better. You better freaking remember that when they come back again, because some of those are coming back again this month. And it's like, and so before you commit, before you jump back in, because they're appearing back in your life and you're thinking, oh, but I love them, you have to give yourself a period of re-exploring, because the person that left is maybe the same person coming back, but you're not the same person, because you have gone through an ending and you are in this new beginning, and you have had to travel through some pain, some hurt, and betrayal stories. And so this is for my single people. So if those people start trying to come back in, you have to really ask yourself, is the person I am today really wanting that relationship? Do I really want that relationship? Is that really what I'm searching for? Is that really what I want now? Or will I be waiting for it to happen again? And so I don't know. I feel like it's like you're just going to have to really truly recognize the power of the snake energy coming in, because there's a lot of earthly, so we have a lot of the earthly kind of energy here coming in from, and human emotions, right? Human emotions. And then I have a lot of that air coming in. And so it's like, we want to jump into action. We want to try it again, maybe, but do we really? And so it's where there's going to be a real, like, either a full, complete end to even any thoughts or doubts, like one shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And you're like, nope, I'm so done and I'm ready to move on. And the moment you're set yourself free from that person or that energy, there's something new happening. Or you're going to find yourself going back in again. And whether or not it's going to be good or not, you're going to find out. You'll have to find out for yourself, right? Nobody can make your choices or decisions. You got to really freaking trust yourself. You really do. This is your free will. Like, you have to trust in you. And then people say, well, they did this, because they felt like, oh, they felt bad or they felt sad. And I'm like, no, we do it from our own free will choice, right? When people make a choice, they choose to do something because they're choosing to do that. And so there is this kind of thought process that we have to look at and just and stop, giving space to say, oh, but I feel so bad for them because this has always been their life. Or it's like, no, you're triggering emotion so that you can respond how you want to respond, because you somehow want this again. Why do I want this again? Why would I go back to this? And so this is for my singles. And so that energy is there. It's really there. And it's also a time of where we will see, it is, they say this is a year, they say it's a year of divorces, like through astrology or through different outlets. As I see the energy come in, and what I see in the energy is I see breaks. So there's gaps in the energy, and it shows these break periods of where we break apart from people, and then we start in the same energy again. but whether or not both people come together and do this. So it may be where we have to do some healing work, we may have to solve issues, and it's either you do it together or you do it apart, right? It's where sometimes the things you've been trying to keep together is finally falling apart. But it's also has a lot of powerful influence by the light and the love energy. So on the other scale of this is that coming into February is that you'll probably see people finding like the love of their lives, walking into that right place. And this is what I talk about being overcommitted. If you met that guy or that girl at New Year's and you had that instant attraction, but you got a million red flags, but yet you keep going back to the New Year's or to whenever that was that you met that person, you're like, oh, this was so good. And it's like, yeah, that was good, but what has unfolded since then? And so not to be so invested into something that you can't get yourself out of it, right? And it's like, because what is truly for you may find its way into your life in February or into March, but it's the energy for it is beginning to come in February. That's when the shift is happening. And so the shift of the energy is bringing that in. And so there is those, and so it's filled with opportunity. And of course, it's filled with these moments of where, it's like, why did I do that? Or why did I overinvest in that? Why did I start that? Why did I do this? And so I know for myself, a few projects that we've been working on, it's like, I have to finish them up as soon as I can. If it's not by the very last day of this month, I have to get them done within the first week. They have to be done within the first week. And why is that? And it's because I know I'm needed, the energy needs to be available. So my channel needs to be available for something else. Like there's something more that is needed. And so finishing up the projects or getting things completed that needed to be done is opening up the way for something more to come in. And so it is a time of resolve, release, resolve. That is also, and so setting intentions, like really setting pure intentions. So what is it I want to see unfold? So this is where, okay, we're in January. So now what would I like? What if I could have a pure intention that is not motivated by fear, not motivated by lack, not motivated by, if it's not motivated by the thought that I may, that I need to prove myself to anyone, if I could sit with my purest of thoughts, what would that intention be for moving forward? What would my intentions be? And so, and then creating the space for this intention. And so what we're seeing unfold as we move through February, March, April, May, is we're seeing the involvement of spirit. We're seeing the greater involvement and the greater relationship with spirit. We're seeing the spirit of love, the spirit of truth. We're seeing the spirit of, the spirit of courage. Like we're seeing the spirit of these entities, these energies, these beyond us being energies that is coming in, that is awakening something within. And it's also bringing about change. And it's also bringing about cleaning up any of the old, outdated systems or any unfinished projects, any unfinished areas where something has been burdening you, something that still sits in the closet, and something that is like, all you have to do is take the first step and everything else will work out or may work out better than you could have thought. Is once we remove the fear and we remove all of the stories of how awful it could be, we make space for the possibility that it could be better than we thought. But what is it I'm seeking? So what's that I'm seeking? Freedom, inner peace, to be at peace. So one of the great things that I know I'm seeking for this year is to be at peace. To be at peace with choices, decisions, to be at peace with all things are clean, cleared up, that all things are resolved, to be at peace. To know that inner peace, to live in that inner peace. And not saying the world is going to be at peace, but to know that inner peace. And so we're kind of at that stage of where sometimes things have to get kind of crappier before they get better, because we build up that fear story. And so it's like, oh my God, I got to rip everything out. I got to do all this. And so when we start taking everything out and move, it's like cleaning up a room. It looks worse before it gets better. But once we can put it in compartments and we can compartmentize it, it starts to be able to be organized. And there's an organization that is organic and natural of the angelic world, of the celestial world, of the divine. And so things are in order there and things are organized there, including our soul's journey is all already organized. Things are already in place. Things have already been working itself out. So things are working. What it requires is for us to not to take action from our shadow, not to take action from our greatest fears, but to take action from our greatest faith, is in knowing that my faith will hold me. And they'll say, well, you're going to be forever waiting. You're going to be left out. You're going to be forgotten. No, I will not be forgotten. Nope, that will not happen. Nope. I will not be this because I've never been that, right? I will not be a bad person because, I'm not a bad person. I will never be a bad person because I've never been a bad person. And so you got to change your narrative, right? You got to change what projects us, or what we react and respond to. What is that greatest fear story that stands in the way of our purest of intentions? Not our greatest intention, because the greatest intention could be, oh, but I just wanted to make everyone happy. I just wanted to help everyone heal. I just wanted to make everyone feel comfortable. That's a never-ending story that you will never be able to succeed at. That's not what it's about. So setting a pure intention versus setting a good intention, right? Oh, I got such good intentions. But what is the greatest intention? What is the purest of intention? What is behind that? When we get honest with ourselves, we have to answer that in an honest, that's where the spirit of truth comes in, the spirit of that honest reflection. And what was I really chasing? What was I trying to prove? What was I doing? Why did I want that? And so when we get lost in that and we look at that in a different direction, or we look at things through the spirit of love, is that we start to discover that the purest of intention is nowhere near what the shadow's intention has always been. And how many intentions and goals have we set on behalf of our shadow, of our greatest fears, on behalf of those thoughts that we have on who and what we think we should be and what we want to be to everyone else. And when we bring it back to self, when we bring it back to this opportunity to gain this clarity and to have this purity, have this clarity around something, is the beginning of being flexible, having clarity, having a sense of peace and a sense of freedom, and being able to be free of all that we've held too tightly to, and all that's had too hold of too big of a grasp onto you and onto us as who we are. And so pure intention. And what's that pure intention? And pure intention will often move us with such force, because then it doesn't have a motive that's being triggered by fear, guilt, in sadness, nothing like that. It's simply the call. So, there is this destiny calling us, and this is the due north energy that's guiding us. And that is the direction of knowing where we have been when we honestly look, what we've been honestly trying to do, and where you have been holding on so tightly. And will that serve the direction of which I'm going? And being guilted into things, being put under pressure. And so I love to witness society and witness things that are happening without such an opinion to it. But seeing how opinionated and how guilty, how people want to try to guilt or force something because they can't understand it, because it's not going the way they want things to go. But when somebody knows in their heart that they have to take a stand in a certain direction, it don't mean it's right for everyone, but it's something that's calling them. And it means they know what everyone else wants of them. They know that everyone else is supporting that. They know that everyone else around them, that is, and I don't mean everyone else, I mean what they're seeing, what they're perceiving, what they're being told, is saying, you need to do this, and or else you need to do this. And it's like, no, 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 I can't. I can't in good nature, with pure intention, make that call and make that decision, because I know it is not right. I know it's not right for me. I know there's something more coming. There's something more that we can't yet see. And being able to stand in that place is powerful. And that's spiral dynamics, because spiral dynamics is based around the collective consciousness. And wherever you live, you experience that collective consciousness. Whatever you invest in, whatever you get lost in. And so it's like there's this threat that comes in sometimes and just says, oh, you're going to miss out, or you're going to be left out, or you're going to miss your opportunity, or you're going to miss your chance. Tell yourself, what is meant for me will always find me. My job is to be the purest and truest version of myself in order for me to open those doors, in order for those doors to open. Every action that you take towards healing, growing, honing, moving forward, one step after another, you're going in the direction of your purest of intention. But every time you walk towards the shoulda, coulda, woulda, you should do this. This is what you have to do. Everyone else is doing this. Oh my God, you're going to miss out. What about this? What about that? Then you're going to be going this way. Or everyone in the group has one of these, or everyone in the group does this. And why don't you have one of those? And you go, oh my God, maybe I should have one. If I was meant to have one, I'd have one. If I was meant to go that way, I'd go that way. If I was meant to have that, I'd have that now. It's not where I am. And maybe there's still more to clean and clear up over here. Maybe that's not for me. Maybe that's not the decision. And as much as the pressure goes on, it's so easy to fall under the influence of the society, of the collective consciousness, of all of that. But when you when you can see even if it's not intentional, the intentional sinister energy behind the projection that we all must go this way, or all must do this, or you're going to be left out, then you see the motive behind that. And that would be going that way really be better for me? Or would it be better and for my people around me? Or would it be better for everyone over there? Who's that really serving? And so when we get lost in the all, that's not oneness. That is as far away from oneness as we can be. The all of this over here is a part of the world we exist in that has all of the good, bad, and the ugly. The light, the oneness with our light, with divine consciousness, with just trusting the purity of the silence and the soundless sounds in the silence, trusting the way to move beyond the hall which we'll be talking a lot about in the mediumship journey of the mentorship, in the hall of ignorance versus moving into the hall of learning, the hall of knowledge, right? So over here is we are guided by our emotions and guided by our mind's ability to create those narratives and that stories. Who would you be with no story? What would you do if there was no pressure? What would you believe? What would you believe if no other beliefs were coming in and there was no other beliefs that were influencing you? If you couldn't hear the fear stories, if you couldn't hear the fear stories and you had the freedom to create only your own thoughts, what would those thoughts be? What would that look like? And so this is where the purity exists. And this movement of February got something in it. And I can't fully explain because it's so hard to bring back, to bring that down to here, of where you recognize that pack is getting pretty crowded. That pressure is getting so big that anger is coming. And there must be a desperation in it if the anger is there. And so they're trying to redirect the projection back onto one, because there is something not right over here. And when you can see all of this and you can see this movement, you begin to not to be so quick to respond, to react, to jump into action. And that's where our greatest leaders come from, because the greatest leaders have the ability to, and I mean the leader even within ourselves, is the ability to walk away from the pack and to move into, you know what? I have to move out of this energy. I have to move out of this, I guess, mob mentality is the only language I can find for, or this, I guess, nothing towards activists, but in spiral dynamics, this is one of the words that we use. Activism, right? We have to move away from the activism because there's so much chatter, and move out and stand alone for a moment, to stand in empty space, to stand in fresh air, to stand in the space so that I can hear for myself. Because you can't hear God when there is a lot of noise around you. You can't, whatever God is for you, source, creator, sun, moon, stars, doesn't matter. You can't hear your own higher self. When you know that saying, it's like, I can't hear my own self think. That's a truth. And so you can't hear the greater wisdom when you are so consumed and so caught up in everything else that is happening. And when all the shoulda, coulda, wouldas are there, when all of the pressure and all of the threats and all of the fear and everything is coming at you, all the guilt, all the shame, you can't hear. When you move away from that, when you move into this different energy, when you get into this pure, quiet space, this is where the spirit of courage finds us. It takes a lot of courage to not to bend to the pressures. It takes a lot of courage to not to just settle for something. It takes a lot of courage to override our own need to kind of pressure ourselves into doing something, guilting ourselves, making decisions from, gonna pressure ourselves into doing something. It takes courage to speak up to that version of ourselves. And I'll just say to myself now, like, that's not true. Or no, you don't need to do that. Don't add extra on. You only need to worry about today, tomorrow, this month. You don't need to get that far ahead of yourself. No, you're not doing that. No, you're not going that direction. No, you're not feeling the pressure of that. And sometimes when it appears to be too fucking good to be true, it's too good to be true. And when it's too good to be true, you don't need it. right? And so recognizing that and talking back, it is the adulting, the parenting thought that is coming, that is the healthiest version of the parenting or adulting thought that is asking you, what do you think? What do you feel? What's really going on here? What are you really hoping for an outcome? Do you really think that's possible? Is that doable? Do you think we should hold on a little bit? Do you think we should maybe wait this out? Okay, well, if you think we should wait this out, we're going to wait this out. We're going to do this. We're going to hold off. We're not going to jump into action. Maybe we need 5 more dates. Maybe we need to stand up to our own family. Maybe we need to maybe we need to have deep conversations. Maybe there's more. Maybe there's more. But this is where the spirit of courage finds us. And this is where the spirit of wisdom finds us. This is where the spirit of true knowledge finds us. It's so easy to be fooled by the imitation light that appears as love, that appears as spirit, that appears as so many other things. And if you can't see beyond that, there's always the ability there's always the chance of being caught up in everything that is happening. Because there is way more in the halls than there is in the palace. And that's recognizing that, we have to rise. We have to rise up, and we have to rise up. And it's like, I'm going to come here, and then you can come to me, right? But not everything gets to come in, and not everything gets to have such a powerful hold. So there is a powerful, forceful kind of influence of energy that has been pushing us forward to jump into action, to go do things, to get going. But then everything in the body is saying, let's think about this. Let's slow down. Let's take our time. So you may have experienced or seen a lot of people do things in January that were like, shit, if you only had to make one more phone call, if you had to just if you just had to think about things a little bit more, but it just felt forceful, and it has a force to it. And now February is saying, okay, we're going to think about this. We're going to see all these opportunities coming, but we don't have to jump so into action. And there's a lot of possibility in February, and February holds a lot of energy. So it's like, it can feel heavy, but it can also feel light, but it's going to feel like a real workout. February is going to feel like a real freaking workout. It's going to be a real workout, but it's where action also begins, and starting to see things taking place, or things taking action, or starting to see how the threats that we were threatened with, that we feel threatened by, are not unfolding the way that we thought they were going to unfold, right? There's just some changes that's coming around. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's just, it's a very unpredictable year. February has an unpredictability to it as well, but it also has the winds of change. So it's going to start changing people's directions. It's going to have people falling apart or coming together. It's bringing together. It's just got it's got power. It's got power. And we have to remember the love of power versus the power of love. And we let the power of love move us and move through us, rather than trying to be the love of power, and to have to be that within our lives. We start to recognize that difference that is happening. So there is a lot of romantic and romanticizing energy. It's easy to create fantasies and fairy tales that hold truth. But recognizing that, was it before science, there was fantasies and fairy tales, and those were real. Those were real until science came and told us that we couldn't have those no more. And then they became not real. And now we're finding what was once impossible, what was once invisible, what once never existed, what we were told for years was not true, was lies, was impossible, that we were fakes, that we were phonies, that all of that stuff, all of that is finding its way into being truths now. So why is it that only a certain group of people can tell us what's true, but for 30, 50, for hundreds of years, we walk around being told, being said, no, it's not true, because there is doubt. And so it is so easy to go against yourself, because the world around us tries to influence us away from who and what we truly are. This is the beginning of a way home journey. This is the beginning of some people finding themselves awakening to new truths, new interests, new opportunities, but also recognizing that the things they once held on to so tight is not supporting them the same way it was before. So the energy is there. God only knows what it's going to bring. I don't know, but this is all the energy that's happening. But spirit is wisping around us. Spirit is speaking. The influence of spirit closer, connecting to us, feeling it, our own spirit. You may feel that spirit knocking from the inside, just saying, hey, excuse me, what are you doing? But there's a lot that's happening. And so, yeah, that's what I have for you for this February's energy update. But I am going to share. I want this deck. I'm going to share actually from the Angel Tarot. And from my own deck. So we have the Queen of Fire, and I spoke, and so the Queen of Fire is about confidence, warmth, intelligent, graceful. And so this beautiful card, notice all the colors. It kind of looks like what it looked like in my dream last night. Stretch your wings and fly. Don't underestimate yourself. Assert your independence and your creativity. And so this is where I speak about it's a great opportunity for people who have been invested into like those home-based businesses. If you're seeing those changes, if you've got the drive to support and grow that business, you got the strength and the courage to grow something for yourself, or to collaborate and help grow several things all at once, like support each other, grow each other's business, whatever that may be. But when you have to have some sort of say in your life, it is going to be a time, like I said, of standing away from the crowd, the mob, the standing in that independence, standing alone. You may find yourself standing alone. You may find yourself making shifts and changes. You may find yourself moving into new groups, new energy, meeting new people, whatever that may be. But this is also about trusting self, about getting away from all of this energy to be able to get over to this pure, and what is my pure intention versus what is that desired intention that comes from my stories. Without a story, who would I be? And what would life look like? And the second card I pulled was the Star card. So I'm telling you, it's a major month, major changes. And this is happy times. Make positive and optimistic long-term plans. So this is where, you can start making those long-term plans. This is where, this is why I was talking about being locked in. It's like, oh, but, it's not that you still can't. It's just going to probably take a little more time. And so it's kind of like there is no real wrong path. It's just sometimes it's going to be a longer path. It's going to be a longer journey or the shorter journey. Which path do I want to take? Do I want to take the one that somebody else that's fully blazing for me and telling me what I have to do, versus walking with the few that we consult, we check in, and it's coming from the purity and the pure of mind. So this is where my trailblazers will find themselves beginning to break new trails, break into new moments or new opportunities. And when you feel like you're losing faith and losing hope and you just want to quit, that's kind of when things start to find themselves into our lives. And trust me, I'm there. I have to say, I'm not even going to hold back on that. That it was only 2 weeks ago. I said to my husband, I'm like, I feel really, truly, because everything is so false. Like having to, oh, you need this many followers. You need to do this. I've spent too many years breaking the habit of being a puppet on a string, or being a slave to these patterns and systems. And I'm like, I just can't sell my soul and sell myself to show up in the world. And so, but I've put a lot of, I've listened to every call that I've had to write, to produce, to put the things out that I have put out. And I know that when I was given the message, it was like, all we ask of you is just write the books. We don't ask for you to market them. We don't ask for you to sell them. We just ask for you to write all this work. We just ask for you to put all these courses out. We don't ask for you to market it. We don't ask for you to sell it. We just ask for you to get it done. Just keep going this way, this path. And the path has gotten, sometimes it feels less and less people, and it feels kind of lonely, and it feels, and I've definitely felt the struggles, and I have felt the challenges, and I have felt the sense of youth versus aging. I have, and I just can't go and kind of create this content that is kind of either saying that what everyone else is doing is wrong, or what they're doing is right. Like, I just don't find that place. And so anyway, I've been challenged, like feeling the energy. It's hard to put into words, but I've been feeling a truth in this. And I've been feeling the tiredness because I've been in the business of business since I was 23 years old. And I'm 53. And sometimes, and it's been definitely some really hard, challenging times. And so I have seriously thought about, do I just shut all of this? Do I just stop? Do I just kind of not do this? Do I not do any of this? Do I just walk away? So this is like sitting with self. This is where we do the conversations with the self, and not a judgment of it, and not going, oh, that's silly of you. No, there's truth in there. But what is the pure intention behind the why? There was a pure intention, because I definitely never asked for most of this. There was a pure intention. What is your truest of, what is the pure intention? How do you move forward? And what do you really need to let go of now? What is now run its course, and what is not working for you? And those are true thoughts. And so the purest of intention, the only thing I could come up with was, I want to be at peace. I really want to know what it feels like to really be at peace, inner peace, to be with inner peace within myself, because I had this imposter syndrome for so long. And what that is I never ever felt like, I always felt no matter what I did, I was almost apologizing for my work, or that it's not enough, or that I'm not enough. And I struggled with that for a long time. And then it was just like, when your work goes out and you want to share it, and it doesn't come back with the same enthusiasm, like there's an excitement to that in that moment. But when it's out and it's there, then all that was building before is now gone. And it's like there was some sort of joy that leaves. And I've been feeling the sparks of joy when I'm at events, or like when I'm out with the people. And I remember my purest of why is love. Like I love, right? I love. And I love from such a pure place. But the purest of intention for me is inner peace. That my stories, all of this never started about me doing this for anyone else. This was a journey for myself. This was a journey of healing. It began as a journey of healing. It began as writing out my stories, and the stories coming out, and putting the stories out, and showing up every day and being there. But as I'm moving forward, I'm feeling the same kind of things that other people feel. It's like, and I will never pretend, and I will never fake it until I make it, because I don't wear a mask, that I don't feel the same things other people feel. That this has been a long, hard journey, the last few years especially, and it has come at cost. I'm going to more than existing no matter the cost. And I'm like, oh my God, I said that. I said that. So I guess my my mantra has always been, I am going to more than exist, and not just exist, no matter the cost. And it has cost a lot. And here we are, right? And here we are. And so spreading our wings, often there we land. And when we land, sometimes we're landed longer than we want to be. Sometimes our wings are broken. We need time to heal. Sometimes our wings have been, we believe our wings have been clipped, and we stay down more than we rise. And so the energy is about us. When we get up to fly, where are we flying? Which direction are we going? What's the next direction? Which way do I go? But as long as we hold on to our due north, and so my due north goes out in my books and in my story, and the journey towards that sense of healing the unresolved within, and that way is to really truly be at peace with who I am, right? To not to be so hard on myself, to learn to kind of like this person that I am without thinking that I have to change something else, fix something else, be something more, but to just simply be. It's a bigger conversation than the energy update, but I want to share it. It is where channel just gives me the opportunity to come in and share that truth, because it's so easy to, for people to think that we've got it all figured out or we're all there. And it's like, no, we're not. We're human. We're human. We're all human. We're all part of that human journey. And so we have the 5 of earth. And that 5 of earth, see all these beautiful orbs, and we got to go see the forest and all that's surrounding it. And here over here, buried in, is the castle. There's the door. There's guards at the door. There are energies at the door. And that what is ours is being guarded, because no one else can open the doors to our destiny. And so this one brings fear. And this card brings fear surrounding money. So abundance, worth. And 5 of earth talks about our material world and our worthiness and what we feel we're worth and our finances and money. And there is nothing that gets people more worked up than the conversation of finances and worries. And so what the card tells us is fear surrounding money, the wisdom to accept help from others, uncertain self-employment. And so, see, that was my fear. And so I've been self-employed for as long as I can remember. But like I said, you're seeing it more and more as we're seeing business is go down, but there's no greater way to prove our sense of resilience in this world is to mom and pop businesses, those that build up in little areas, communities, and we support those, and we keep supporting those, and we keep supporting each other, and we keep being there for each other. And so we are in these times are facing us, but over here, this is the fear. But over here, if we look high enough, if we rise high enough, we see the light, we see the abundance, we see what is possible. And yes, it does require action. Everything doesn't come towards us. And so getting on the right path is traveling the right neural pathway within ourselves. Neurolinguistics programming and neural and coaching and those things is about changing that thought process. It's about going a new way. So it's one, you can switch, you can change your mind, you can change your life. Your life can begin to change with one change of thought, right? And so we can be the change. And so being the investigator in our own lives, it allows us to investigate those fears. It allows us the opportunity to recognize that there is a destroyer energy that exists within us, but it's not there to destroy us. It's there to destroy the thoughts that keeps destroying a life that we're truly here to live. Ending out with the 9 of water. And this card is the card of hope that goes right back to the star card. and to the Queen of Fire, because this is we have a lot of fear that we have been being motivated or pushed by or directed by. And so the Nine of Water is that mystical, magical. And when we dive deep down far enough, when we find the treasures of ourselves, we find our sense of worth and value, we rise up. This is the card of wishes come true. This is the card that coming up for air, that when we finally get up for air, we can see a new world, we can see new possibilities, we can see potential, we can see what else is there. And it's where concerns begin to fade away. Worry solves nothing. And it's the actions that we begin to take to kind of break ourselves free, because we got to move out of old energy. We got to shift out of the old ways of doing things. And this is the shift, the patterns, the habits that we start to look at. And so it brings us into a love of life. This is not about us finding the love of our life. It is a love of life. And when we begin to love life, when we begin to feel like we want to feel alive, is that we want to do more that brings us into alignment to all that is alive and living in our energy, in this world that is filled with love, light, and possibilities. And not to keep going to that which is already dead, that which is already gone, which is the past, that which we cannot change, that which we cannot, right? We cannot change what already is. We can make a different choice and we can do things differently. And that's the way that we're going. So that's what I got for you. And I hope somehow that this inspires you throughout the month, or that you've stayed all the way to the end. If you have, thank you for being here. I do have the 6-month mentorship coming up, the mediumship mentorship coming up, and that is Beyond Our Ego. This is going to be a big course. It's a big class. It is going to have once a month. We're going to meet for 3 hours. You do get breaks in that 3 hours, but we're going to meet for a 3-hour class once a month. And then once every week, you'll get a new video. You'll get a new video with work to do in that video. It will be videos that you have to do weekly, and not just try to save them up and catch up before class, or saying, oh, I didn't get to them, I need to do them, I need to still do them. No, you'll need to do them before you come into the class, right? Before you come into your next live class. And so it is about our spirit, is about connecting to spirit. It's about staying in the power. There's just so many things that I want to share that I feel like gets left out too often. And it's about bringing it back to some of the basics of our deeper relationship, and the journey of being a medium and being a healer and being both, and having really experienced both, and bringing that in together, so that you can recognize the power of how mediumship and how connecting to spirit and how to communicate to your own spirit also invites in a deep healing for you and for the people around you, that you learn how to be in better relationship with yourself and better relationship with others, and you learn to trust self, and you also learn to see beyond that which is imposter, or that not with imposter, that which is imitation light and imitation, which is not really a truth. And you learn the difference between collective consciousness and all the levels of consciousness. There's just so much. I have so much to share, so much that I want to bring into that mediumship program. So I would love to see you there. We've put them payments as a monthly basis. But if you're signing up and you would like to pay all up front, you can do that too. You just have to reach out, but it is set up as a monthly payment plan. And so, yeah, we'd love to see you join us in that mentorship. And we start on February the 16th. The first class is one of the live classes. And so, yeah, I'd love to see you. All the links are all down below here on YouTube. So check it out. You can also purchase my books and my cards. All the links are on the website. The cards are sold only on the website. So if you want to order my cards, you can go directly to my website and you can purchase both my decks right there. I send you so much love. Have a beautiful February. Talk to you soon.